Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome on board. There's something odd about this clip. I'll get back to it later. But first, have you ever wondered why we have this small instrument here in the center of the cockpit? There's one here on the 787 as well, when we already have these two big ones with bigger fonts and more details. For that, we need to understand how these instruments work in the first place. You see, we live in an ocean of air and we're at the bottom of it where the weight of the air overlying us is maximum. That's called atmospheric pressure. As we go higher, the pressure reduces. And what our instruments does it measures and calculates the pressure difference and converts that into a readable value. And this change in pressure is used by some of the instruments, if not all, for its respective purposes. But how do we measure the atmospheric pressure? Well, through these ports, these small openings. They're called static ports, and they measure static air pressure. The position of these ports along the fuselage might look random, but they are decided by the manufacturer after a lot of study and research, and they are the position chosen with the minimum airflow disturbance. And if you notice these small needle type things protruding out somewhere on the nose of the airplane, let's just zoom in. Well, this one's angle of attack indicator, and this one's called pitot tube, a small opening facing the wind to measure dynamic air pressure. Some call it pitot tube, some call it pitot tube. Both are the same things, and they measure pressure in total. Pressure in total, hence pitot. And that helps in measuring the airspeed of the airplane. And these static or pitot ports are connected to the primary displays along with the main power source, and one for each pilot. But there's another dedicated port for the small instrument here. It's called the Isfd, Integrated Standby Flight Display. And this may not be as accurate as the bigger ones because the best port position has already been given to them. But Isfd comes with its own power source, so even if the main display gets unreliable or conks off with loss of power, the pilots will still have something to bank on. In the flight simulator, the Isfd is not shown with its full potential, but it does the basic job of showing attitude, airspeed and altitude. So here I am approaching Mumbai runway 27 with display failure. And since my last airspeed was about 140 knots, that's what I'm trying to maintain here, looking at the Isfd. Now without Isfd, it would have been impossible to judge the speed, even in the VFR conditions. One can be too slow to risk stalling the airplane, or too fast to land, damaging the landing gear, or maybe run the risk of overshooting the runway. And here I am trying to maintain speed close to 140 knots, and I'm following the PAPI, the Precision Approach Path Indicator, and the 4 lights left of the runway. It should be 2 whites and 2 reds. Okay, touchdown, and it says flaps not in takeoff config, cancelling master caution. Speed brakes up, reverses full. $60 knots on reverse, and that's just about it. Thank you for flying with your virtual captain. I hope you learned something new today, and I'll see you all in the next one. Sayonara.